The sky was about to turn into a hell of twisted metal. Two Soviet MiG fighters locked their sights on the chest of a single American pilot who had no right to survive at all. They thought the 2-on-1 advantage was a guaranteed death sentence, but they forgot they were facing an F-14 Tomcat, the deadliest predator that has ever cut through the clouds. What you're about to see now is not a computer simulation. It is the real account of how American courage and superior technology pulverized Russian arrogance. In a life-or-death duel, get ready to feel the G-force crushing your bones. We are going inside the cockpit of a war machine that knows no mercy when it comes to protecting the absolute sovereignty of the sky. The F-14 Tomcat's AWG-9 radar gave the first warning that the day would be bloody. Two hostile dots were advancing at over 1,000 kilometers per hour on a direct collision course. The Soviet MiGs came into pincer formation, a classic tactic to surround and annihilate any intruder. They were confident, laughing under their steel helmets. With the thought of an easy victory, Buster, the American pilot, felt the surge of pure adrenaline flood his nervous system. He did not ask for that fight, but he would certainly be the man to put a definitive end to it right now. He pulled the stick with controlled violence, sweeping the variable geometry wings back. The Tomcat roared like a hungry demon, ready to tear through the air and hunt down its Russian prey today. The Soviets did not expect the American giant to be so agile. They underestimated the engineering of the United States, and that would be the last mistake they would ever make in their lives. The weapons system locked onto the first target with surgical and merciless precision. The fire control computer screamed for blood, asking to release the power that would change the afternoon. Buster pressed the launch button, and a Sparrow missile jumped from the rail with the fury of 1,000 suns. The white smoke trail cut through the crystal blue sky like a scar of death. The pilot of the first MiG attempted a desperate evasive maneuver, but it was too late. The Sparrow does not miss. The impact was a symphony of destruction that disintegrated the jet in seconds. A gigantic fireball appeared where Soviet hope once stood. Thousands of pieces of obsolete technology began to rain over the ocean, creating a spectacle of total and absolute humiliation. But the combat was only halfway over. The second MiG, seeing his partner vaporized, entered a state of blind rage. He wanted revenge, but he would only find his own final and dark destiny. The fight was now personal and aggressive. Buster knew the enemy would come with everything he had. F-14 into a descending spiral, forcing the engine to the extreme limit. The aircraft's metal groaned under the pressure of 8 times the force of gravity. The American pilot maintained total focus, ignoring the vision that began to darken at the edges of combat. The Soviet was desperately trying to get a firing angle for his 30mm cannon. He fired useless bursts that only tore through empty air, revealing his total and complete despair. Buster smiled behind his oxygen mask. He had absolute control of the situation. He was the master of aerial chess, and the Russian pawn was about to be removed from the board with extreme force. Every movement of the F-14 was a declaration of absolute superiority. While the MiG struggled not to stall, the Tomcat danced in the clouds with a deadly grace that defied human logic. The distance between the two fighters decreased with every heartbeat. The whole world seemed to have stopped to watch this duel of titans, where only one would leave with life and glory today. The American pilot prepared the next move, a maneuver he had trained 1,200 times. It was time to show why the United States of America never retreats before tyrants. The Tomcat's electronic systems were like gods compared to the technological junk the Soviets operated. Buster could see every mistake of the enemy before the Russian even decided what to do. The arrogance of the Kremlin was being ground up in midair by a single man with a determination of iron. The sky does not accept cowards, let alone war machines built on lies and propaganda. The second MiG tried to climb to gain energy, but the Tomcat closed the angle in an impossible way. The American predator was now exactly where he wanted, in the attack saddle of the invader. Buster's finger rested on the trigger of the Sidewinder missile, the heatseeker that never loses its trail. The sharp lock-on tone in the headset was the lullaby of the dying enemy pilot. The tension inside the cabin was palpable, but elite training spoke louder than fear. Buster was the personification of aerial justice, ready to deliver the final verdict of this epic combat. Can you imagine the face of the Soviet pilot realizing his life depended on an inferior machine? The despair must have been as cold as winter in Siberia in the middle of a dark, lonely night. Comment down below right now. Do you think any modern Russian plane would stand a chance against a trained American pilot? I want to see who really understands combat aviation here today. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next epic duels that history tried to hide. The subscription button is your passport to the world of the true military elite. The trigger was pressed and the Sidewinder took off with a brutal acceleration that tore through the sound barrier. The trail of fire was the announcement of the end for the second invader. The missiles sought the scorching heat of the MiGs turbines. With an insatiable hunger for destruction, the Soviet tried to launch flares. But American intelligence was far superior to that. The explosion was so violent that it lit up Buster's cockpit, even from hundreds of meters away. The second MiG disappeared in a cloud of black smoke and incandescent, burning wreckage. 2 against 1. The result was the total annihilation of the aggressors in less than 5 minutes of real combat. The F-14 Tomcat remained sovereign, without a single scratch on it. Buster leveled the aircraft and took a deep breath, feeling the weight of victory on his shoulders. He had just proven that freedom has very sharp teeth and claws that do not let go of prey. As he returned to the aircraft carrier, the radio bubbled with the voices of command in shock. No one expected such an overwhelming and fast victory against the supposed elite of the Russians. The landing on the steel deck was the final point of a mission that would enter the annals of history. The sailors cheered and celebrated the return of the hero who faced tyranny and won. But what does this combat teach us about the reality of modern wars we see on television today? It teaches that technology without courage is just expensive junk thrown in the battlefield. The Soviets hid this defeat for years, trying to maintain the myth that their machines were invincible. They lied to their people and to the world, but the truth always comes out in the end. Today we see the same story repeat in various conflicts around the globe. The blind pride of aggressive nations continues to hit the steel wall of free and absolute American determination. The F-14 Tomcat was retired, but its legacy of destroying tyrants lives on in every new American fighter. The lineage of predators continues to evolve to ensure the sky is always blue. Have you ever stopped to think about what would happen if this duel were against today's stealth fighters? The result would be even more devastating and humiliating for anyone who dared to try. Buster's aggressiveness was not just personal. It was the reflection of a country that does not accept being trampled. Every bolt of the Tomcat was designed to impose respect through power. Aviation has changed. Missiles have become smarter. But the spirit of aerial combat remains the same. It is intelligence against brute force, and we already know who always wins in the end. The wreckage of the MiGs must still be at the bottom of the ocean, serving as a reminder to anyone: do not try to test the patience of a giant that prefers peace but masters the art of war. Buster continued his career as an instructor, passing on the knowledge of how to crush enemies to new pilots. The Top Gun school is not a movie. It is a nightmare factory for all the enemies. Now I want to launch a controversial challenge for you who reach the end of this epic account. If the F-14 returned to service today, would it still be able to shoot down China's jets? Many experts say yes, due to its long-range radar that is still a living legend. Leave your aggressive comment down below and let us debate who really rules the airspace around the world. If you like videos that do not sugarcoat anything and show the naked truth, subscribe now. Turn on the notification bell because the next video will be even heavier and more revealing for you. We are not here to tell bedtime stories. We are here to show real power. Thank you for watching, and always remember that the sky belongs to those who have the courage to conquer it today.